Besides claiming that God was a hoax and religion was a lie, it also suggested that the Holy Ghost didn't exist or didn't actually possess the power to rid mankind of its suffering.
Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. My name is Utikas, and without wasting any time, let's get to the video.
Recently, an incredibly terrifying letter from centuries ago was finally decoded, and the contents of it shocked the entire world. So what exactly was in this letter, who wrote it, and how was it translated after so many years? Let's find out. It all began in the 17th century with a nun who lived in Sicily. Sister Maria Crocifiessa della Concezione was a 31-year-old nun residing at the convent of Parma de Montechiaro. On the 11th of August 1676, the poor woman was found on the floor of her cell. According to the historical records, her entire face had ink marks on it, and she was holding a note in her hand. When her peers attempted to read the ominous note, they were left baffled as it was written in an incomprehensible mix of symbols and letters. Sister Maria had been living here for more than 15 years, and nothing of the sort had ever happened before. When she was asked about it, Sister Maria claimed that the devil was trying to use her to serve evil and made her write the encrypted message in 1676. She said that the devil wanted her to turn away from God and towards evil. The letter contained just 14 lines of jumbled, archaic letters, and for centuries to come, no one was able to decode these strange symbols and images. Linguistic experts, historians, and religious scholars all attempted to decipher this code but failed to understand its meaning. It wasn't until recently that experts realized they had to alter their approach. According to Ludum director Daniele Abate, while working on historical decryption, you cannot ignore the psychological profile of the writer. Daniele emphasized on learning everything about the nun. Records state Sister Maria was born Isabella Tomasi and entered the Benedictine convent when she was just 15 years old. She was actually an ancestor of renowned Italian writer Giuseppe Tomasi de Lampedusa. Daniele Abate explained that the letter appeared to be written up in some kind of shorthand. At first, they speculated that Sister Maria created a whole new vocabulary using the ancient alphabet she may have known. This letter wasn't the only one she wrote. In fact, there were multiple letters written by her in this indecipherable language. Only one of the letters survived, but its contents remained a mystery for 3 whole centuries. The Ludum Science Museum of Sicily obtained a copy of the letter in August 2017 and subjected it to a more modern analysis with the help of an intelligence-grade code-breaking software, according to reports. They had already figured out that the nun's letter contained a mix of words from multiple ancient alphabets, including Greek, Arabic, Latin, and Runic. The Ludum group was headed by Daniele Abate, and they discovered the software in one of the darker corners of the web, where algorithms developed by intelligence agencies have been leaked to a wider audience. The team primed the algorithm with ancient Greek, Arabic, Latin, and also the Runic alphabet, and afterwards they fed it the text from Sister Maria's supposed devil letter. But first, the researchers tested the software using some standard shorthand from different languages. The team analyzed how the syllables and graphisms repeated in the letter in order to pinpoint vowels, and eventually ended up with a refined decryption algorithm. The team wasn't expecting a miracle to happen, they were only hoping to make sense of a few words. But as it turns out, the nun had a good command over the language, and to his surprise, Abate realized that the translation was more complete than expected. And it turns out the letter did actually have a devilish aspect to it. It was sort of rambling in nature, not exactly understandable even after decoding. It referred to the Holy Trinity as dead weight, and went on to say that God thinks he can free mortals. The system works for no one. Perhaps now Styx is certain. She also wrote that humans invented God. Sister Maria claimed that she had no recollection of writing that letter. She was probably suffering from some sort of mental illness, which at that time was considered equivalent to being possessed. She would also scream and faint at the altar of the Parma de Montechiaro convent.
Yeah, so it could have been something like schizophrenia, or something like that. So yeah, but let's continue watching and see if they're going to mention it.
In the Greek and Roman mythology, the Styx is a river that separates the netherworld from the world of the living. The team had successfully translated 15 lines so far, and it mostly speaks about the relationship between God, humans, and Satan. It further tries to convince the nun to abandon her faith. But the real question is, how did she manage to write this? Many researchers believe that the woman was probably suffering from bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. People suffering from these disorders often get auditory and visual hallucinations of figures resembling the devil or demons or other paranormal evil entities. She was prone to experience hallucinations or delusions. She was also pretty familiar with several languages and also spent a lot of her time studying linguistics, so maybe there is a logical explanation for this. In an interview with Radio 105, Abate said, "My theory is that this is a precise alphabet invented by the nun with great care by mixing symbols she knew." Abate further explained that each symbol is well thought out and structured. There are some signs that are repeated. It could either be an intentional or unconscious initiative. And life in the monastery wasn't quite easy. The stress probably played a part in triggering her erratic behavior. From the historical records, they discovered that every night Sister Maria would scream in her sleep and was apparently fighting the devil. However, it's no secret that centuries ago, the church and frankly no one understood mental illnesses like we do today, and even today there's a stigma surrounding psychiatric illnesses. Even in the modern world, the Catholic Church continues to perform tens of thousands of exorcisms on people they claim are possessed by evil spirits or demons. At the time, the Church considered the letters an outcome of her struggles against innumerable evil spirits, according to a written account of this incident by Abbess Maria Serafica. In Serafica's account that was written shortly after the events in 1676, the nun's behavior depicted that the devil may have forced Sister Maria to sign the letter. She heroically opposed the demand by writing Oime, that means "Oh me." This was actually the only comprehensible word in the letter 300 years ago. Abate thinks that if this had happened today, the nun would have been diagnosed with schizophrenia or a similar condition. So it's possible she was actually hearing a voice dictating the letter to her, and because of her linguistic skills, she was able to produce this mishmash of language and heresy. The interesting part was that Sister Maria stated back then that something evil had taken control of her, and when she came to her senses, she had no recollection of the event. But legend says that when she woke up, Sister Maria found a letter in her grasp that was written in weird glyphs that she didn't understand. According to this legend, she was struggling with something most nuns feared and hoped would never happen to them. That's why she decided to go to the Sicilian island of St. Paul to confront her inner demons. She was born in 1645, and when she joined the Benedictine convent, she adopted the name Sister Maria Crocifiessa della Concezione. The legend says something insidious was lurking within her. The Benedictine order preached about work, love and peace, but there was no love or peace in the heart of Sister Maria. There was something sinister about her.
They said something. Was that something someone she knew wrote, or that maybe it's someone who just like maybe she had schizophrenia when she was young. So when she grew up, they saw the same things happen over and over again, and they said whatever they said about her. So yeah, probably just mental illness. I really doubt it's something supernatural, but you never know. The world is really strange.
Whenever she approached something holy, the woman would scream and faint. These mysterious episodes convinced her that maybe Satan was using her as a conduit. But what exactly did he want from her? When she was discovered with the cryptic letter, Maria was convinced that the devil was trying to corrupt her. Years passed since the incident, but the letter remained illegible. The sisters of the convent believed that Sister Maria was indeed possessed by evil, so they decided not to leave anything to chance. They decided to display the letter publicly as a warning. They also hoped that someone out there might be able to decipher the message in it, but unfortunately, it took the world a long time to crack this code. And even that wasn't much help, as the portion of the message experts managed to translate barely makes sense. Besides claiming that God was a hoax and religion was a lie, it also suggested that the Holy Ghost didn't exist or didn't actually possess the power to rid mankind of its suffering. Sister Maria's letter also referenced the underworld. The team of experts, however, didn't take Maria at her word, as her psychological profile was also pretty messy and pointed to an underlying illness. Most modern-day scholars also think the content of this spooky letter is just gibberish, and that is probably why most of the text remains undecipherable even today. Daniele Abate believes that Sister Maria wasn't possessed, and maybe she even knew exactly what she was doing and saying in the letters. The order at the time definitely thought she was being controlled by a demonic force and decided to thoroughly bless her in order to repel the evil influences. And even today, it's not easy to convince the church that it may have been a manifestation of her disease symptoms and not a case of possession, probably because her claims weren't an isolated event. 3 centuries have passed since Sister Maria's supposed possession, but the concept of the devil overpowering a person is still considered a real threat in the Roman Catholic Church. They actually train clergy members to perform exorcisms, and many popes perform these too. In fact, according to reports, the Reverend Gabriel Amorth, who was also the chief exorcist of the Vatican, performed more than 160,000 exorcisms in the course of his ministry. Maybe it's a good thing Sister Maria's letter was not decoded back then. Who knows how much its contents might have enraged the church. The consequences of calling God and Jesus a figment of human imagination would not have settled well with the order. No one knows whether Sister Maria continued to fight her demons or if she got better.
Okay. So yeah, that was a fun video, a very interesting one. Yeah, back in the day it was pretty considered pretty bad to blasphemous to even think of saying those things. So yeah, she was lucky that it was not decoded back then. They could have like what they used to do, get rid of her in not so good manner. So yeah, so probably it was just a mental illness. Even today, there are people who still like even where I am from, mental illness isn't well explored, and people don't understand it very well. And it's a problem. It's a very big problem. So yeah, that was a very fun, interesting video, and she probably had schizophrenia, or yeah, probably that was the case. So yeah, so if you should try to know more about mental illnesses when it comes to the people around you, so you can be able to interact with them better and learn what's going on. Especially where I'm from, like if we saw something like that, most people would say it was like a possession or something. So yeah, it's very sad. But yeah, like, what did you think of the video? Was it possession, or was it mental illness? So tell me down in the comments, and if you want to see any more videos like this, you can just tell me there in the comments. And thank you for watching, thank you for clicking, and have a nice day, and see you in the next video.